Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ayub. I
My
understand
pleasure.
that you are the former president of the El Paso Hotel and Lodging Association. So you must have a lot of information in regards to the hotel industries in El Paso and have a good idea of what's happening to that specific industry now that we're in the time of the coronavirus.
Yes, that is correct. It was a 2-year term that I just finished serving. In December was the end of my term, and we went through a lot. The hotel industry was doing well. It was up and down at times, of course, but we've never ever experienced what we've seen these days during the coronavirus. This pandemic is just um, taking a toll on the hospitality and tourism industry completely. And like I said, it's something that no one's ever seen. It's globally.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in terms of just overall how we have to kind of put these precautions in place, it is just unknown to us. We've never had to do it. I can't even imagine when your entire industry is, having out of towners coming in and staying in your facility. So one of the questions that we have for you, oh, and just to remind our viewers that if you have a question that has to do with hospitality or hotels, this is something specific to Mr. Ayub's property, which is the Hampton Inn at the airport. But of course, we can try and get you some answers or shed some light on some of the questions that you have. So feel free to post, and Mr. Ayub will take a stab at answering it for you. And if we can't, then we will find a way to get you the answer. Okay, Mr. Ayub. So due to the lockdown, have you had to take any additional precautions when it comes to new guests that are arriving at your hotel?
Yes, and we were very proactive from the very beginning when we saw what was happening around the world, and taking precautions and contacting all of our vendors, making sure that we have the proper equipment that we will need as far as face masks and gloves and all the PPE that we would need for the hotel, and then making sure that we have enough chemicals. We're always fully stocked, but a little extra during this time because we wouldn't know where we would be, during this pandemic. So we were very proactive. We set up sanitary stations, hand sanitizer stations all over the property and in every department, making sure that our employees as well as our guests stay safe during this time because you just never know, especially in a hotel where guests come from everywhere and the limited guests, but so that we keep safe. So we actually put up a plexiglass up at the front desk for that guest interaction. We make sure that we maintain that social distancing and that we stay at least 6 feet apart from each other. And we don't handle their keys during checkout. We have a designated box where they get dropped off. So we put a lot of different procedures in place. And that was, through the property level and through our corporate office and through Hilton as well, because our hotel is actually a Hilton property.
Perfect. So, along with making sure that your guests are staying safe, you're very big on emphasizing the idea that the people who work with you and work under you are also staying safe.
Correct. Absolutely. That's our number one priority, is making sure that we keep our employees and our guests safe at all times while being here at the hotel.
Perfect. Okay. So, are hotels even accepting new guests at this time?
I can speak for my hotel. We are open and operating, and we are accepting, new reservations and walk-in business, which is the leisure traveler, the everyday traveler on the highway, the people that are driving through town and need a place to stay in order to get some rest so they can continue their journey to wherever they're going. We are accepting those reservations. I mean, it's not very much, to be honest. Maybe not even a handful a day sometimes, but we are open and operating and making sure that we provide a place, comfortable place for guests to stay during the night.
Yeah, of course, some travel can't be avoided, especially if you are, coming back from somewhere. So that's great that the Hampton Inn is making sure that El Pasoans and people who have to travel through El Paso have somewhere to stay that's safe. And
Correct.
um, so will you be willing to offer lodging to first responders or medical professionals who do not want to potentially expose their family to a virus? For instance, my mom is a nurse. My dad is 72, so he's right there at that area. So is that something that you would be willing to do, to offer lodging to first responders within the area?
We will be willing to do that. I don't know if you saw that, but since I told you we are part of Hilton, Hilton rolled out an initiative where they teamed up with American Express, and they're offering 1 million room nights across the United States. Several Hilton properties that choose to opt into this promotion, where we can offer this deal for first responders and frontline first responders to start making their reservations as needed. So we are a hotel that is participating in that program at this time. And it's not a reservation they can make directly with us. This was set up directly, as I said, with Hilton and with American Express, where information was sent to the first responders and people that are in need of these services, and they'd have to go through their association pages to make sure to see if they can make a reservation for a Hilton property that's participating. So we sent that information out, and there's a certain amount of rooms allotted per hotel that's participating, and that's already actually going to be active, I believe, at the end of today.
Wow, that is something that's really generous. As I said, my mom is a nurse. My dad is at that age where they're at risk. So that is something that is really nice to have in place, so that we don't have to risk anyone getting sick with people who are help fight the virus.
Exactly.
What precautions have you had to take due to this outbreak? I know it must be extensive. I can only imagine. Can you give us an idea?
It has changed our day-to-day operations. I won't lie, completely. From from in a hotel, of course, you get somebody that checks in, they check out the next day or after a few days, and you come in and clean the room right away. That has completely changed the course of our operation the last few weeks. The directive, of course, came from our corporate office as well as Hilton, where we're not entering a guest room that has checked out after 72 hours after they've checked out. And this has come directly from them and the research they've done, and then the directives they've gotten, I believe, from higher up, I believe from Hilton, as I said, where we won't enter, like I said, within 72 hours of the room, and make sure that if a guest is staying multiple nights, that they place their trash or their linen outside their door, and we'll have a certain way of coming in with protective equipment to get that removed from there, and we will replenish the clean linen and toiletries and anything that's needed in the room in a fresh bag outside the room. And this is to keep, of course, like I said, our employees and them safe. But we want to have minimal touch of their handles, of their guest room, of any interaction within close proximity. So those are the drastic measures that we've resorted to. We did stop. We used to have a breakfast buffet, of course, and that, of course, was taken off right at the beginning of this, where we have now resorted to breakfast bags that are prepared, and set out for a guest to take with minimal items, of course, everything prepackaged. But the drastic measures that we've taken is something that we, would never imagine doing in a hotel where you are here to serve your guests every single day and to provide that ultimate service where they feel right at home. It's hard to do that when you're limited with the interaction that you have with the client, but we're all in this together, so they understand. They understand the drastic measures that we've all had to take.
And I think that's great, that you guys are really putting the needs. It is time consuming. It is something you guys haven't had to really do before. But to know that you care about your guests that much, that you are really taking this extra effort and step to make sure that they're accommodated for and they're getting as close to the experience as they possibly can at this really strange time for us. That's something that I think most people would be able to appreciate. So on behalf of El Paso, thank you for doing that. So we know that a lot of people book a lot of events at the different Hilton hotels. I'm sure your hotel under Hilton is no different. So what happens to events that have had to be canceled due to coronavirus?
We've had most of our events cancel. Or not canceled, let me rephrase that. I mean, we've had them either postpone it for a later time, or some have canceled because they don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we have different types of clients from all over the place, and some even local, that book events with us as well. So what's happened is that we've secured a lot of the business to make sure that they postpone it their events for later dates, and of course they'll see how if this is progressing, which we all are hopefully optimistic that it won't be for a long term, but we really can't predict that. But we are willing to postpone their event for whatever time they want, and we've been very flexible with their needs, of course, because that's something, like I said, we're all in it together, and we don't know what's going to happen. But some people that have canceled, of course, was towards the beginning because they had events right away, in this month or even the month of May, where we don't know how business is going to bounce back. And that's on their end as well, because we don't know how much travel will be affected on their end, because usually when business is slow, a lot of the businesses cut travel is the first thing they cut or minimize. And, since business has struggled the last few months, that could be one area where would gradually, come back and gain some type of momentum at one point. We're hoping, as I said, optimistic that travel will come back sooner than later, but I think it'll gradually start up and gain momentum as this pandemic, evolves, and we see what it is that happens and how comfortable people are with starting to travel again.
Right. So many hotels have stopped offering room service. I'm just wondering, with your hotel in particular, do you guys have alternatives to that for the guests who you do have staying with you as of right now?
If you're referring to room service as far as food, we don't have a restaurant, an actual restaurant where we do food service here, where we do room service. I mean, so there's Grubhub and DoorDash and everything, where people have resorted to, and they did that in the past as well. And people that would come in and check in and then go out to a restaurant. Obviously, they can't do that now, so they're doing the takeout and everything that we're doing. So that's pretty much what they're doing right now. But yeah, so we don't offer room service because we don't have that restaurant. So those we don't have those services anyway.
Okay. So this is a perfect time for people to really utilize going local and maybe trying the local cuisine, of course, through safe delivery at this time.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. So, and one last question. So we're about to wrap up. So if y'all have questions, please go ahead and ask us now, and we can go ahead and make sure that we get Mr. Ayub to shed some light on whatever concerns you may have. But for my last question, Mr. Ayub, I just was wondering, what lasting effects do you feel that COVID-19 is going to have an effect on when it comes to the hospitality industry in general? I know you had mentioned, you expecting that it's going to be slow for a while, but it eventually will bounce back. But do you feel as though COVID-19 will have a bigger effect on any aspect of it?
At this point, like I said before, it's so hard to predict, but from what we're seeing now, I think, the hospitality and travel and tourism industry has just taken a tremendous hit globally, of course, and we're feeling it here in El Paso. And I feel like the effects will be long-term. And like I said earlier, that when businesses are struggling, a lot of the first things that they cut is travel. And that's where we feel the effects sometimes. This is no different. I think that, like I said, people will be skeptical about traveling at first, and some may and some may not. People have been cooped up for a while, and I think they're all going to be ready to go out and travel places they haven't traveled and go eat and visit places they haven't been to for a while. But I think that'll take a little bit of time, and of course, that'll have a lot to do with their company and their business and how much or how fast they've rebounded or they are scheduled to rebound. And a lot of the times they minimize their travel needs in the immediate future. So it just depends really on how quickly we can hopefully overcome this pandemic and how quickly the world can come back to travel and tourism, which is a huge generator for everybody. I just feel as though a lot of people will be, like I said, skeptical as far as getting on an airplane again and wanting to go visit a place where there's been cases pretty much everywhere now. We're no different. So I think that the new norm would be social distancing for a while, and the handshaking will be minimized, I think, for a long time. And it just the way of life after this is going to be different. It's not going to be going back to normal lifestyle. I think the new norm will be different. And I think it's taught everybody just how to live differently and how to appreciate things that we didn't see, didn't really appreciate before all of this. So I think it's helped teach us a lot of different things. Of course, we didn't want it this way, but I think, like I said, the new norm will be different, and travel is no different than that. So.
Well, I can assure you that I am one of your dream customers. I am so tired of staying in my bed, in my room. I feel like I need a vacation. So I will probably be one of the first people once
Well, that's good.
be going to your hotel to book a room just to get out of the house.
I understand it. I haven't felt that yet because I've had to come to work every day, sometimes 6 days or 7 days a week because, well, we, like everybody else, we've had to lay off. I laid off 95% of my staff. So it's really the managers that are having to cover, the shifts and work as much as we can, with what's going on. But it's something that's helped us keep the hotel open and operating. So as best as we can, but hopefully, everybody feels like you and they all want to come out and travel as fast as you want to travel. And
people reemployed and back at it.
Yeah, same thing. And we want to bring all of our people back. We want to bring the staff back and get them back to work and anxious. We stay in touch with the employees that we had to lay off, which of course was unfortunate, but everybody understands because it's everywhere. It's happening everywhere. Luckily, they're getting some assistance, government assistance, so that's good. But they're all, the ones calling us to see how we're doing here and anxious to come back and take care of the guests like they always did, and more like never before with that energy to get out of the house and do it. So
sure,
we're excited.
Are there any words of wisdom that you can provide to El Pasoans or employees like yours that have been laid off, not because of anything they've done or not done, but simply because right now it's just a difficult time in many industries?
I think that everybody needs to do their part, and social distancing and doing what they're telling us, what our city officials are telling us is crucial, and it's very important to do because of the fact that, we've seen the cases increase, we've seen them rise, and it's going to get, we can have more, and it's happening daily, and that's a result of at the beginning of people not doing it the way they're supposed to do it. And there's essential workers such as myself that need to leave the house and come straight to work all day and go straight home and, make sure that I follow the proper procedures that I've been told on how to clean up and sanitize before I even go in and say hi to the family or do anything at home, because we're trying to protect our loved ones and our parents and our grandparents and everybody that's out there, because it's very important that if we don't want to stay in, such as yourself, and just be bored and anxious to get out, then we need to do this in order for us to get back to normal, to some type of normalcy. And it's not going to happen if we don't continue to do this. And I know that there's Easter coming up, this Sunday, and it's crucial that, this year we stay indoors and we do things, with our own families and still stay socially distanced from them, and practice the proper hand washing and everything that they're telling us, because that's very, very important, because everybody out there wants to get back to work and wants to go back to working in their restaurants and in their hotels and small businesses and everything. But in the meantime, support local. It's the important thing. That's what it's going to keep us going. And we're a strong city, and we're going to continue to be a strong city, because of what we're doing. And we're going to be, we're going to come out on the other end and just going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And I strongly say, just stay in the fight, and hopefully it'll be done soon.
Right. So just follow the protocols that are being set in front of us. Let's try to minimize this and keep your head up, and we'll make it through. Those are great words of wisdom. Well, thank you so much.
Exactly.
I know you're very busy. We really appreciate you coming on here. And to everyone who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We will be back with more El Pasoans who are going to give us some wisdom and light throughout the week and next week as well. So, Mr. Ayub, again, thank you so much for joining us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. And everybody stay safe out there.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.